Yes. It is a Castworthy Podcast, and we are back at you. It is Sunday, September 25th, 2022. I'm Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine, joined today by the one and only VP of Research and EJ the Savage. It's hoodie season. That's when all the savagery begins. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there, man. How you doing?
Year. What's going on, champ?
Oh, I can't call it. Down here it's for those who are under a rock. Tropical storm Ian is making its way towards the United States of America, close to Jamaica right now. Hopefully, sounds mean, but I hope it stays south and west and hits Mexico or gets into the Gulf and takes out Alabama or one of them red states or something because
Wow.
uh hey, I'm selfish, man. I don't want to get hit. But I feel like I've been watching the news and DeSantis did its state of emergency like 2 days ago, which is super early in comparison to ever before. Um and I'm of course it's an election year, so that makes sense. And then add to it that you got all these people. They made a good point on the news. All these people that moved to Florida from all these other states the last year or two. This is new to them. They've never been through a hurricane, and so they're pumping it up. It seems like they're pumping it up significantly, and hopefully it's not as bad as what they're making us think. But we'll continue to watch it. I went into Sam's Club yesterday right before they closed at 8 o'clock, and there was only one pallet of water left. So we're in mid hurricane season form. There was only three generators, and yeah, so that's kind of how it's looking. But you know, this always happens, and a lot of times it turns out to be nothing, and it ends up moving, or doesn't really hit mid Florida Central. So that's where we're at, man. How about you, VP? You guys start your storm prep at all?
Nah, not really, man. I guess like just being a native Floridian, especially born and raised in Miami, lived through Hurricane Andrew. Like these storms don't really kind of. I guess I always tell people, like call me when it's a cat 3. Cat 1, cat 2. Especially being in Central Florida, so far away from the coast, except you know what I mean. Um, not saying that it can't do damage or whatever, but it's just you got a little bit more protection being further inland versus like if you're in Miami, Tampa, Daytona, Jacksonville, places like that on the coast. So so we're not really tripping over here, man. And like you said, with people moving down here, my sister-in-law, her boyfriend, the dude that she's dating now, he's actually from Chicago. He just moved down here like in the last, year or so. And for him, he's like, man, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I mean, tropical depression, tropical storm, there's nothing to see here. It's like bad thunderstorm, basically. I was like, cat 1, cat 2, you might need to get some water or something like, but call me when it's a cat 3. So,
Yeah, the only thing that really worries me at this point about hurricanes after Charlie was is tornadoes. Like that's the one thing that you have no
yeah,
control over. Like if
right.
them shits spin up, and I hate when it comes at night. Like when a hurricane comes during the day, and the peak of it is here, you can at least look out the window and see some shit. But at night
Yeah.
it'd be pitch black, powers out. Like that's that's the worst part.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, hopefully it's not crazy. What about what's going on up there in old Baltimore? You guys probably starting to see that nice fall frigid legging weather, buns out.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's on the horizon, man. It's been cool these last few days. It's fairly decent right now. 63 right now, but yesterday during the day it was like 50 something. So, felt pretty cool and it's
Did
feeling good.
you venture off to a little brunch action yesterday?
I actually hosted a brunch for a
Oh,
foundation event and it was cool. It's a lot
And
of lot of good
how'd
fun.
that go?
It was good. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. People came out to support and all that good stuff. It was a good time. Good
nice.
time.
Good, good. So it was for a good cause.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Try to do that, try to make excuses to be filthy for a good reason.
Mm, true. OnlyFans.
Hmm.
Um, how much would annual income have to be for you to let your girl do OnlyFans?
I mean, I would say like, what kind are we talking about? You talking about like solo joints?
Well, listen, we're not talking about porn. Like I'm not about that light.
So what entails that? Like what are you allowing them to do?
Have you guys have never ventured into
I
OnlyFans?
mean, he asking you like what are you what are
I've
you
seen
talking
some.
about?
I've just seen some links. I've heard that it's an interesting place to
No,
hang
I
out.
mean,
Didn't y'all
I
know
think
somebody that does OnlyFans?
I do.
I don't.
I've never seen it, but I saw them promoting it on Instagram.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
shit. I mean, in this day and age, I probably do and just don't know.
Bingo. Yeah. I mean, listen. So we see it all the time, right? Like we see people posting on Instagram, and you see the little caption at the bottom with their OnlyFans link and shit like that. And if you tap on it, usually there's some little Kim type action. Spread
better
eagles.
better question. If they have an OnlyFans, is that basically selling ass?
Nah.
Nah. Mm-mm. Nah. Listen, man.
Why? Why not?
Why not? Well, I guess you're right. It is kind
Why
of.
not?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. You
Why?
aren't. I mean, if you're talking literal words, yeah, you're selling ass, but you're not selling that.
If you're at a point where you're willing to put on shows and expose yourself, and I can't, because you can say, well, exotic dancers. Okay. Yeah. At some point, you
But
gotta kind of ask how far are you willing to go for the right price.
I'd rather my girl do all. If I, I would rather OnlyFans versus a stripper, like, because they in the same room. Like a stripper, they in the same room.
But also too, like you got some people who do their OnlyFans. They only post pictures, and so, like and some like remember
Oh, the whack ones.
they're not all like that, but I mean remember that porn chick Mia
Mia
Khalifa or something like
Khalifa?
Khalifa.
that. Yeah, her.
You see Vari trying to act.
Like, he
Trying to
don't
act
know.
like,
What's the name again?
oh, what is her name? Oh,
But
this
I
motherfucker.
don't know these things, but
Oh god.
but she does the OnlyFans shit or whatever, but like it's no like nudity, no sex or anything like that. And like she has a shit ton of subscribers. So, I
but
mean,
she's also a
obviously
porn
she has a following. No, she got out of that like years ago.
right. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
saying after years of
Right.
giving up.
Right.
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying there's other people
Years
who
of being taken to Pound Town.
the point that I'm making is that there's people who do the OnlyFans shit who
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
do like any sex, any nudity, anything like that, or whatever. You know what I mean? So
The
yeah.
whack ones.
Right. But like if I guess if that's because of our society. Like we have a problem. We're so nosy. We're so worried about what everyone else is doing. Like for Black China or like Cardi B, those are the two that stick out to me that did OnlyFans.
mhm.
And you
Cardi got
know,
OnlyFans?
and when I Googled, there didn't seem to be any adult uh content on there.
Mm.
So but they made a lot of money off of it. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mhm.
just us as a society trying to like we're not content with our lives anymore. People are they're not content, so they need to see what Cardi B is doing. They need to see what Black China's doing to see if if they're matching up or if they're living up to what life should be. And that's, I think, also why a lot of marriages and shit aren't working right now, because everyone is looking at OnlyFans, or not OnlyFans, I'm sorry, Instagram and social media, and looking like, oh well, my life should be so much better. I should be, out on vacation like, Marie. And listen, Marie ain't got a pot to piss in. Marie spent every last dime to get that coach class flight to the Dominican Republic, and she gonna be in debt for the next year to show you these pictures on Instagram, but you don't see that part of it.
Right.
And I think that's part of our problem as a society. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, you speak about the relationship aspect. A lot of people are not happy with being boring. You know,
I'm
you
happy.
you
I'm
know,
okay
you
with being boring.
I mean, you think about it, right? Our parents and those before us, generationally, right? They went to work, they came home, you knew what they were gonna do, you knew what Big Mama was gonna do, whoever it was, you knew what they were gonna do, you knew what they were cooking Fridays. There was stability, it was consistency. Us today, if you have a stable relationship and things are fine and things are the same, people find a problem with that. Like there has to be some kind of drama. There has to be something to talk about. Like you said, the social media aspect. Things aren't right if something isn't wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's people just can't be happy with being bored.
But not just that though. A part of it too is that it kind of goes into like the mental health stuff they talk about with kids and using social media and stuff, where people go on Facebook, Instagram, etc. They use all these filters and shit and make it appear like their life is so awesome, and then
hmm
people see that and think, why can't I have that, and then they start trying to aspire to what it is that these people are doing, even though their whole you know thing that their whole profile online is bullshit. You know what I mean? So like it's just like how many times have you seen that story about somebody who is like some IG influencer or something like that, and they get exposed for taking a picture in first class while the plane's loading, and then they move back to coach, trying to make it seem like, oh, look at me on the way to the Bahamas or
Bow
whatever.
Bow Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that goes back to not wanting to just be you and be regular and not,
Mhm.
what I mean? People we today we're desiring things, we just can't be normal anymore.
Yeah.
We can't just be a
Mhm.
regular person. Like how many people are so tired and saying, I'm so tired of working a 9 to 5. Everybody's an entrepreneur,
Right,
right?
right.
So everybody's just gonna make money without the man. Just
Yeah,
no one has
exactly.
no one has a regular job anymore. Like
hmm
work for
That's
myself, work for somebody else. Who
right.
gonna do that?
hmm
Work for myself.
Yeah, school is for the sucker.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
All right. All right, dog. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure my kid goes to school. Yeah, man. I guess so you guys never answered the question. What is what would the W-2 have to say at the end of the year for you to be okay with your significant other doing OnlyFans?
I said I think it depends. I'm like, what are we talking about?
Solo OnlyFans.
I'm,
I'm never gonna be okay with more than
oh,
one.
okay.
So like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So I
so
mean, I'm
there's no
cool with it.
number for that. I don't think.
I don't. I mean, it would have to be worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just be doing the shit just cause. You know what I mean? Like, if it was, it wouldn't. Like, I don't think it needs to be like, you know, hundreds of thousands. Like, if you making a good, you know, like a second job kind of thing, like, hey, it is what it is.
Y'all pussy. I need in order for that to be okay, um I need to be able to not work. You know what I'm saying? If you're if your insides are plastered all over the internet where, my friends and
Hey
family
yo.
would be able to find that. I need to be super, super comfy. So my number is probably like 350. 350 a year.
But how do you then live with yourself? You know, how do you then have a normal life? Like, I'm sure. I mean, you know, he can afford it, but the whole world has seen Kim every which way. But he could afford to not be around regular folks. Like, is that enough money for you to not go to the grocery store and someone be like, "Hey, I know those buns."
No, I don't think. It's
Hot
that.
cross buns.
I don't think it's that like crazy. Or like on IG, I follow this chick named Mila Jade. She used to be in porn. Now she only does
Do
OnlyFans.
you now?
And like
The
she talks
truth
about this.
comes out.
She talks about this kind of shit all the time, like on her IG or whatever. And she was like, when she meets people in public, it's not. She was like, it's very rare that she meets somebody who is like an asshole. You know what I mean? Like most people just like, oh hey, like I watch your videos. You know, and like sometimes people ask for a picture or something like that, and like that's it.
She
It
also
would
ain't
be
that
awkward. It
famous.
would be. It would be
Hmm?
awkward.
She also ain't that famous.
Yeah, I
Ain't like
guess it
you talking
depends.
about Turkey or something.
Yeah, I
No,
guess
I
it
mean,
depends
right.
how famous the person is and how many followers. But a lot of times, these people, like VP said. I don't think you're bumping into subscribers too often because most people that subscribe to that are fucking weirdos. Like
Yeah,
like to
and
like
then
subscribe to an everyday person. Like,
and then you also got to think about too, like where, like when you do something like OnlyFans or whatever. I mean, you got people who are like in the middle of nowhere, fucking Oklahoma, who
mhm,
might have an OnlyFans. You know what I mean?
Kansas.
Like how many people are they bumping into? It's not like they got this big ass OnlyFans following and they live in New York where they're gonna bump into like tons of. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, I know that there's people out there who probably have huge accounts that live in those big metropolitan cities. You know what I mean? But the like the chick I'm talking about, she lives in like Arizona. You know what I'm saying?
and
So,
and it could build your following anyway. Like
right.
if you bump into somebody and they tag you and they take a picture with you, they're not dicks about it. Then they tag you, it could build your following and make more money. So
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, man, 350 probably, that's a good number to start at, you know. But
Hmm.
it would have to stay consistent. Like we can't see a decrease next year.
Yeah.
The minute we see a decrease, there's a decrease in work. Uh, get your ass back into the fucking office or something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just thought, this is interesting, interesting thought that I had about that. So, congratulations to your boy. You didn't mention that in the opening. TJ made what was it?
All city.
All City bowling team here in Orlando. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, he goes. They're gonna have an award ceremony coming up soon. It was him and I think it's 4 or 5 other kids. Um, and in the email they say it's basically it's based on like their sportsmanship and professionalism and their average stuff like that, minimum games and all that kind of thing like that. Um, so yeah, so he made the team, man. We're super proud of him, man. He don't want to go to the award ceremony. Because the award ceremony is on the day that he's supposed to have a tournament.
Mm. Yeah, TJ crazy.
Yeah.
He crazy. He's still bowling for school. School.
Yeah. Yeah. They
Yeah.
just they bowl on Wednesdays at Boardwalk. So far this season they're undefeated, but they haven't bowled the better schools yet. So, the only thing that sucks this year is that they only have 5 bowlers. They have a 5-man team. Last year we had 7 bowlers. So the coach could kind of sub in,
Right. Don't know if that's mine or yours that went out. But we lost audio from VP or my internet went out.
anybody was, not.
All right, your shit fucked up, VP. Um, actually, I can actually check this to find out. And EJ's disappeared, so it's just me one man show. Oh, there he is. Yeah, we lost Vari, EJ.
Oh,
So I wasn't sure if it was mine or if it was his, but it sounds like it's his. And he's trying to return. Technology is hard, man. Technology is hard. So we were just talking about TJ making All City for the bowling team here in Orlando. So big TJ, congratulations to him. Let's get into some other stuff, man. You've been watching. You started watching that show I was talking about, right? Dated and Related.
yeah, I have.
Date.
Very interesting.
I just finished it yesterday. It's only 8 episodes. No, 10 episodes. I'm sorry. 10 episodes, about 30 to 40 minutes a piece. Dated and Related on Netflix is interesting. I'm a messy little bitch. I am. I love that kind of messy shit, yo. I don't know why. Like The Circle, like there's certain reality shows. Like I'm not into like the Housewives and shit like that, but like that shit's pretty interesting. I like the
You're,
drama when it happens in houses and they put strangers together and shit.
you're low key hopeless romantic. You like the rom coms. You like those dating type shows. Seeing people going through the emotions of things. Then you're a hopeless romantic on the low.
But I think I like the drama in those shows. I do like rom coms though.
I love them.
I
Love them.
do. I don't cry
Yeah.
though.
That show is pretty. That show is pretty interesting though. Just watching these kids, and it's kind of interesting. But you gotta kind of at this point figure that all of these people are like out for a career, because there's no way you can tell me you're finding that many perfect motherfuckers
Right.
in the United States that are just single and want to find love. They just tremendously in shape. They look great. It's just you can't tell me it's real. And it's
Yeah.
getting a little out of hand.
You
And they
figured
never have reunion shows.
Yeah, you figure they cast, for it. So um obviously when you talk about first seasons and stuff like that, you got to make sure that you're picking the best. And so as you see sometimes these shows like that, the first season you got, like, to your point, the perfect people, the most beautiful women and dudes that are chiseled and shit like that. And then as season 2, 3, 4 come into play and they're casting, now it got a little more popular. They're paying a little less because they got their following already, and then you start to see some normal people get in there. And so, but Dating Related, just for anyone who hasn't seen it on Netflix, the premise is uh, two siblings, or not two, but a sibling pair joins the home, and it's about 5 or 6 sibling pairs. Some are brother sister, sister sister, brother brother,
You
and
got two
the
cousins on there.
and yeah, because the idea is that they're there to try and find love for one. So, and the helping person is the brother or the sister, the alternate person. And then there's some twists and turns as you get further into it, but I don't want to spoil it. So but yeah, it's almost like a real world type of thing where they're put into this big house ranch type of thing, and villa, and they're coexisting, and there's drama and all
It's a,
types of
it's a
wild
hell of
stuff.
a house on the
South
south
of
coast of
France.
France. That's.
Hmm.
I'm like, whose house is that?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Big
you
ass
definitely.
Airbnb.
Yeah, you definitely got me watching that bullshit. But I'm finish it. It's pretty cool. I saw the I saw the Idris Elba movie Beast.
How was it?
It'll piss
Idris
you
is
off.
my guy though, man.
It'll piss you off. And the ending was horrible. Ending was the worst part of the movie by far. Horrible.
It seems like the endings in a lot of shit is getting worse and worse. It's almost like artists that can draw, like, if you notice, if you ever heard of it, like, artists can draw really really good characters, but most artists struggle with like drawing faces. And it's the same thing for like writers. They write great stories, but don't they struggle at endings. They suck. And I'm thinking like movies, TV shows, all the stuff recently has just been bad. It's like, they don't know whether they want to let go. Do they want to lead people on? Do they want to leave it open for, added, sequels and stuff like that? But so you think it's what would you give it stars out of 10 or
Six and a
5?
half. 6.5 out of
6
10.
and a half.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Because it has its moments where it's exciting. It has you glued to the TV. I mean, if you're black and you're watching it, you're immediately pissed off. But other than that, the ending was just bad. Super bad.
And you know what I think part of it too is, Steve, with the point you were making about artists, it's like if you come up with something like always I heard somebody who like writes novels, they say usually when you come up with like a book, regardless of what genre it's in, right? Like where it begins, where it ends, right? You got to just kind of fill in the middle, and so to them it's like, oh, I created this character, and they're, they might be a tragic person, they might be, somebody who has a lot of drama, whatever, and then in their mind they're like, this is how this person's story ends, and it makes all the sense in the world. But then us, the reader, the viewer, etc., we're like, the fuck was that?
Right. Yeah. Right.
like it appeals to you, but everybody else is kind of like, that shit didn't make any sense.
Made
You know
no
what I mean?
sense.
Like I watched 10 seasons for this. Like,
But it always amazes me, the studios at some point before you greenlight it, like they have these screenings and they have these people that watch it. It's like, dog, who the fuck was in the room? Like,
but you know
y'all
why
just
though,
approved
EJ?
it?
It's because those people are in the industry, so they see it. Like they get the artistry, and they're like, yeah, this character, if you look in season 5, blah, blah, whoop, 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 whoop. And then like us who are normal people who don't, we just look at what we see on TV and we feel, good or sad or whatever. And we're like, well, that was a pretty good show, or it's a pretty good movie. And then we keep it moving. We're not into art and subtext and all these like deeper meanings and shit like that, and it's like, oh, of course he left with that chick, because remember, she had that green dress on, and green symbolizes blue, 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 which means this was gonna happen. And to them, it's like, yeah, of course. It's the same reason why movies that nobody watch win Oscars. It's because the people who are in the industry,
the
are
creatives,
like, this shit is, the creatives, they're like, this shit is amazing. And we're like, yo, like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like the movie, the one in they just won the Oscar where the ladies like living in the RV, like shitting in the RV and shit on the road or whatever. It's like, who the fuck thought that was good?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's what made something like that's what made Barry Gordy and Motown special, because he had a room full of the creators, but they also had their ear to the people that shit wasn't moving, it wasn't selling, they weren't doing it. So, but like I said, I told you I watched the Jordan Peele shit, and he hasn't had nothing hit since Get Out. I don't know what the hell he was doing with Nope. And I mean, at this point, I know we trying to support blackness, but the shit ain't good. The shit ain't good. At some point, we gotta keep it real.
I hear what you're saying. I haven't seen Nope yet. I obviously Get Out, was great. I thought the other one with the doppelgangers with
you can't even remember the title. That's the problem.
Right.
It's called Us.
Us. There you go. I thought that one was like okay.
That shit was ass.
Like, but part of Jordan Peele's problem is that, one, I think he's kind of suffers from that same thing that I was just saying, with like the artist sees it in this way and it makes total sense. The industry is like, oh hell yeah, but also Jordan Peele suffers from like the same thing, that we talk about when we talk about sports with like Patrick Mahomes, right? You come out one season and you throw 10,000 yards and 4,000 touchdowns, and then the next season when you only throw 2,000 touchdowns, people are like, man, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so he comes out with his first movie, Get Out, and like it does phenomenal. People were like, oh my god, this movie was so good, first time director, blah, 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 blah. And now you got to live up to that standard,
Yeah, but I also think it's more to the first point that you have. He's in the room and he's seeing it, but everybody else is not seeing it. And that's what I try to explain to people. And this is what Steve talks about. When he likes his Marvel movies, he likes to see shit get blown up, a lot of visuals. He don't really care what's going on. He don't know what's going on. He just likes to see something and be entertained. Some
Mhm.
point you have to dumb it down. You have to make it relatable. You have to make it digestible. A lot of people say they had that problem with Nas or Jay-Z. I don't like to have to pull out a dictionary and an almanac to figure out what you're talking about because you're referencing something that happened in 1985 on December 4th. So it's just like sometimes you got to make things digestible for people and entertaining. And I think he should get the room to maybe try to get better and make better films. Like M. Night Shyamalan, this dude, he's had years of hits and misses. I mean? It seems like now he's getting a lot more consistent and better with Split and the other one that he came out with. I can't remember, when they were like on the beach aging. That was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, some of these people are just too smart for their own good. We talk about it all the time. People that are so rich and they know so much, they're so smart, they just miss everybody else.
Yeah. No, I think you guys the analogy of a rapper is kind of how I see it. Like, especially with Jordan Peele, I feel like Get Out was something that he had, like a rapper that has their rhyme book. You know what I'm saying? Rhyme book is full of shit that they've been writing from the time they were 13 years old. So you can go through it and you can pick 13, 15, 18 good songs in your first album, be fire. And then now you got writer's block, or you don't have enough, or now you're going through your B level shit, and your second album isn't as good, and third album, and so on. Now you got to get your features and get that shit right. And I think that's where Jordan Peele is to me right now. Is he's in that second, third, fourth album mode where he needs to collaborate a little bit and collaborate with the right people. Like, thinking that, I forget the guy's name, but the dude that dropped off of Black Panther, I like him as an actor,
Googler.
but but I don't think
Are you
he's
talking
the
about
guy.
Michael B. Jordan? Or are you talking about Daniel
No.
Kaluuya?
Yes,
I
yes.
got you.
But I don't think he's the guy to draw the audience in that Jordan Peele needs, because people are still doubting him as a writer or producer. Peele is.
That's a pretty good point, though. Having that rhyme book, and it seems like he is struggling to really figure it out because, I mean, the us thing, it was just like, what's going on? And then in Nope, it's like you go through 75% of the movie before you even know what the hell is going on. And it's
Ask
like,
me if I saw it.
I know I'm the only one that tried. I couldn't even get through it.
Mm.
Couldn't even get through it.
Yeah.
You watch
and
anything
and
else?
maybe and maybe he's trying to
Yeah,
go for
Bacon.
one of those. Maybe Jordan Peele's going for one of those things like M. Night Shyamalan, right? And I think he did that to his detriment. He came out with The Sixth Sense. It got to the end, everybody saw the twist, and it's like, holy shit, mind blown. And then he tries to replicate that in every movie. And now, instead of people watching, enjoying a movie, people's watching, trying to figure out the twist. And then when it happens, it's kind of like, so so
Yeah.
maybe he's doing something like that in the horror space, and you just gotta try different shit, man. Who knows.
M. Night's been doing all right though. I gotta give him
Hmm.
his credit. He's been doing all right recently with the
Hmm.
how he had, what was the joint, Unbreakable and Mr. Glass,
Hmm.
and then Split and Mr. Glass. Those were good. And then the
Hmm.
the one you don't like shit, so I don't even know why we're talking to you. But the one where they were on the beach and they were aging, that was a pretty
Oh,
good
that
twist
shit
at
was
the end.
that shit was terrible.
It was bad. It was
You
bad.
talking about? Oh, yeah, it was bad.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
really
bad,
bad.
but it wasn't that bad. I mean, compared to him, but I mean, he's been getting a lot of films, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. What else you been watching? Anything?
Same things. City on the Hill, Raising Canaan.
Mm.
Raising Canaan, I think, is, if you're a Power Universe fan, I think that is by far, thus far, the best series, writing wise, just more realistic,
You
just
mean
good
overall or
acting.
like outside of the main show?
Yeah, outside of it, no, I would say to some degree overall, like,
Mm.
just with the week to week they don't give you a whole lot and they don't give you too much. Like Power, I feel like in a lot of instances, they gave you a lot each episode. This, like Raising Kanan, you're getting a lot more acting and drama. So it's, it's pretty good. I mean, to some degree, it's a little slow in that area, but it's pretty good. I like it. If you like the Power universe.
Gotcha.
The crazy thing about me is I don't have time for the acting and drama. I want y'all to get to the shits. But yeah, no, she's I forget her name, man. The one that plays Kanan's mom.
Patina Miller, I think.
Yeah, she's a good actress. She's a really, really good actress, man. She captured it. I mean, you would think she's from New York. What?
That accent the first
I'm
season
sorry.
was killing me.
People that are not from New York would think she's from New York. She was trying hard, but she does good. I think she's better than Mary J. Far, far better than Mary J. So, yeah, she does a good job. VP, you watching anything new or different?
Nothing new. I finished Ozarks earlier this week. I didn't
finish the whole shit.
Yeah, the whole series.
This motherfucker put an S on the end. Ozarks.
Yeah, Ozark. Because it's called Lake of the Ozarks, so that's why I thought the show was called Ozarks. But it's actually
also from Miami, so you add an S to everything.
But yeah, I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't care for the ending at all. Yeah, I mean, I see why people. This is what got me when I watched the show, right? Because y'all said like Breaking Bad is ass. Ozark is so much better. It's so much, and I'm like, it's like having seen Breaking Bad the entire series and then watching this, it's basically the same show. See,
this is why nobody pays any attention to what you say.
I didn't like either one.
It's basically the same. I liked Ozark. It kind of started getting off
completely
the rails,
different.
Like in season 3.
There's no drugs.
It is drugs.
No, it's money laundering.
He's laundering money for a drug cartel.
But he's okay. Mute him.
They literally show drug deals being made in the show.
Yeah, but it's not like your guy Walter White cooking up fucking
meth.
Dope. Yeah, like that's.
They're both equally unrealistic to me.
Yeah.
So how did? Go ahead.
No, it was unrealistic, right? But
it's always going to be unrealistic when you're talking about cartels and shit.
But that's the thing, though. Like for me, I always say, when you watch whatever, you have to suspend your disbelief. You know what I mean? Like when I watch House of the Dragons, I don't be like, man, how the hell they got a dragon on here? You know what I'm saying?
How that big ass dragon fit on that little ass bridge?
So.
But I mean, some shit gotta make sense, right? Like you got the head of a drug or not the head, but a key player in the drug cartel goes to the Ozarks rather, and gets killed by this country ass hippie ass housewife, and he only had one bodyguard that they happened to just pick off. Like he murdered like 4 people in California, but nah. He can't handle these people. Nah, I mean, no. Make it make sense. We talking about cartels that are like
unarmed in that scene, though.
Again, we talking about people that literally are notorious for chopping heads off villages,
right,
in Mexico. And he came to America to get shot by Betty in her nightgown. Get out of here! Stop it.
That's what happens when they get the drop on you.
And then the character that people see like on social media. I kept seeing people like, "Oh, Wendy fucking Bird," and then when I saw the show, I'm like, I couldn't stand Wendy.
I hate Wendy.
Wendy reminded me of Tara in Sons of Anarchy. I hated that character too. Like I didn't like Wendy's character at all.
Yes,
I didn't like Wendy. I didn't like her at all,
and I didn't like the son either. Like I liked him at first.
Well, I think you weren't supposed to like the son. Yeah, as it got later into the seasons.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I finished Ozark, watching obviously, Hot D, and then
hey yo,
that's what George R. R. Martin calls it. That's what he calls it. But Watching that, and then we got we watched Big Brother, the reality show. The finale of that is tonight, so we'll see the live finale tonight. Other than that, nothing new.
Okay, all right. How'd you feel about the last House of the Dragons episode?
I liked it. There was parts of it that I felt like didn't make sense. Like, especially when you talk about, this is a story based off a book. It's based off a book that's complete. So it's not like they got to make it up, like all the shit is in the book. Like, there are certain parts, like the opening scene where Damon kills his wife. That doesn't happen in the book. Like, Damon's still in the Stepstones fighting. And, it seems like in the books, like it might have been an accident. Maybe you could, you could read the text and like theorize on maybe he paid somebody to do something to his wife or something like that, you know what I mean? But like, they didn't have to put that in the show. And the thing that messes the show up is that, like, thinking about it from your perspective, right, where I remember a couple of weeks ago you said, I don't know how I feel about Damon, and I said, well, watch this space, because the Damon character in the books is written in a way to where his character is kind of ambiguous. Like some people love him, and then for those same reasons, some people hate him. You know what I mean? So he's kind of like this gray character, where you don't really know how you feel about him. And in here, they got this dude showing up like just murdering his wife or whatever, which definitely probably puts people in the I fucking hate this dude camp. You know what I'm saying? And that shit seemed like kind of unnecessary. But overall, I thought the episode was mostly good. And then the ending when Kristen Cole like beats the shit out of Joffrey Lawnmouth, like, that also didn't make any sense or whatever, because like in the books he does kill that dude, but they're at a tourney, and like they get in, there's like a melee at the tourney, and then that's when he kills him. And so it seems a little bit more like, oh, sometimes shit happens in tournaments where like knights are fighting or whatever, and somebody dies or what, you know what I mean? Like we saw that in the first episode. But here they're at the middle of a royal wedding, and this dude beats the shit out of this guy. Not only does he beat the shit out of him, like the Lawnmoth guy, he's from a house, he's like highborn, and then he punches Laenor in the face, who's going to be the future king, and like nothing's done about this. You know what I'm saying? That's why that part didn't make any sense or whatever. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode.
I seen it coming, and I think that, and I don't know, maybe you probably know better than I do, but whenever he kills him at this tournament is probably before what we're going to see tonight. Like, we're going to see that major fast forward, so they probably were looking for a way to get it in there. But I knew that was happening. Like, I was watching it, and I'm like, I said, when he started talking to him, I'm like, oh, Christian's in his feelings. Like, I've seen this I've seen this look before from people I know. So I was like, yo, Christian about to set it. Sir Christian is about to set it. Just get out his ear. And
you can see, like, he even tells him, like, he says to the dude, he's like, look at him. He's what do he call him? He's at he's cunt struck. So you already see,
that's a new one.
He said it in the show. Like, so you already see the dude he's already in his feelings, right? And on top of that, you tell
that's the medieval way of saying pussy whip.
Yeah. So you're saying, okay, this dude is pussy whipped, right? Then you go and tell him, hey, I know that you did some shit that literally can get you killed. You know what I mean? Like Kingsguard, like all those orders in the Game of Thrones universe, like the Kingsguards, the Maesters, the Night's Watch, all those dudes have chastity vows, right? They're not supposed to have sex or whatever, and they're former Kingsguardsmen in the books who have gotten killed. Even the last king before Viserys, the old dude that you see in episode 1, Jaehaerys, one of his Kingsguards, they found out he was having sex with somebody, and they gilded him, meaning they cut his dick off, and then sent him to the Night's Watch. You know what I'm saying? So you come tell me, hey, I know you did this shit that could literally get your dick cut off or whatever, but as long as you keep it quiet, it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think I'm gonna do?
How sick do you have to be to write this shit?
Right. Yeah. For George, like we just talked about, George, like the creative, like for George R. Martin to be sitting there to be like, you know what? What's a good idea? If the Kingsguard betrays and has sex, cut his dick off. Boom. That's gonna go over well with my readers. Like, he's crazy. But I always say, like, when I watch movies and TV, these are some sick, twisted individuals. Like, to come
Yeah.
up with stories like this, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? You're beyond normal. At least what we consider normal.
And then people in the like in the Thrones community who are like super fans, the ones who do like the theory videos on YouTube and shit, they're singing the praises of this guy who's the showrunner, Ryan Condal, because that scene with Allison, they feel like they got a shout out because remember when they're standing in the gardens and he's standing next to that tree and he's talking about how it doesn't grow here but it's thriving, and the subtext of that conversation is him saying, like, you know, you're not from here, but look how you're thriving or whatever. And then he's also talking about himself, right? But if you look on the background, there's a mural of a lemon tree, right? And the importance of that is that in the books, like, people who are like super fans have been trying to theorize, like, who the fuck was helping Daenerys Targaryen when after Robert's rebellion, when her and her brother escaped. Because in the book, she tells everybody she grew up in Bravos, but something's like fucked up with her memory. People think that somebody was using a glass candle, which is like something like how Bran can war against people. They could use this thing called, they don't show it on the show, but it's a thing called a glass candle where they can kind of get into people's memories and shit like that. Because her memory from a childhood is like fucked up. But the only thing she remembers is this house with the red door, and then outside of her window was a lemon tree. And in the books, they tell you that lemon trees don't grow in Bravos. So people have been trying to figure out where the fuck was she living when they were in exile and all this kind of shit like that. Like, who was helping the Targaryens who were still in Westeros, you know, whatever. And so people feel like they put that in there saying, like, this thing that doesn't belong here is thriving here anyway.
Kind of like
egg. Yeah, kind of like as an Easter egg to the people who have been making these theory videos about the books on YouTube. So they were saying, like, they felt like it was him throwing a shout out to like the Game of Thrones YouTube community. Like, we see you. You know what I mean?
Fucking nerds. I also feel like Sir Christian snitched on himself. Like, I don't think that the Queen was gonna ask if he smashed. I think she was gonna ask about Damon.
Yeah, she was.
And whatchamacallit smashing, and he put himself out there. So moral of the story, man, let him finish. Let him finish. Because you never know where women are going. When they start to interrogate you, you start throwing yourself on the right, EJ.
No. No, you're wrong. 100%. Nah, you're right.
But you know what else this episode did? Like Steve asks, like, what's wrong with Viserys or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, I felt this episode kind of like just highlighted how weak this dude is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
he's a pussy.
Like, you start off with him.
Viserys is the Biden of Game of Thrones. Like, this dude is old, dying. He don't care about the black people.
Like, you start the episode off and he goes and sees Corlys instead of having Corlys come to him. You know what I mean? And then they get back or whatever, and you're at the royal wedding, and you banished your brother-in-law. This dude just shows up with, you know, no problem. You know what I mean? Even though you banished him, you know, you're in the middle of a speech and you just get interrupted. And it's not like you get interrupted by your wife, right? And saying that here in the United States, 2022, is like, yeah, okay, so what? We're talking about medieval times where like women had like no rights. No, you know, you're the king.
Well, yeah, because he was, who was it that was like, he's gonna be pissed?
Yeah.
Yeah, how dare you, woman?
So like that whole shit was just, it just showed you like how terrible that dude is as a king. Yeah.
But that was disrespectful even in 2022. Like, if I have a gathering and I'm about to start, like, you know, first of all, you should have been there on time, you know. But I'm about to start a speech for my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Listen, you better wait till I finish before you walk up in this room trying to steal the show.
But for you guys though, you know, with the, because you know, I'm thinking that I'm not sure how many more significant time jumps we're gonna get. I know, we're getting a pretty big one from last episode to tonight. But like that last episode, like, lines were drawn. That last episode kind of is the spark that's going to ignite everything that this series is about or whatever. So the first, what was that, episode 4 or 5, I think was last week. So like those first 4 or 5 episodes was pretty much all set up to everything that this whole series is about or whatever. So lines are drawn in the sand. You kind of see where people are, what the underlying issues are, and everything's about to jump off from here.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a huge jump. I mean, I saw obviously you see the character changes. You see if you saw the preview, you see there's a baby and then another baby and all types of
there's more than one baby. Like at this point, when they time jump and based on what you see in the previews, Rhaenyra already has 3 kids at this point.
She's a hoe. So all right. So that's a good, yeah, that's a good spot. So real quick, just to close out on last week's Watch This Space, we saw a video this week. If you didn't see it, it is available on Instagram and everywhere else you look, but there's a video where Tiffany Haddish is walking and somebody asked her, "Hey, how you doing?" Blah blah blah, and she's like, "I'm jobless, I'm broke." Like, she's not doing good after the settlement. And so that case we talked about last week was still pending. And as of this week, the news indicates that it was closed out. It was completed. There was a settlement. The dollar amount wasn't discussed, but some of the other demands were granted. So there should be, or will be, or has been a public apology from Tiffany Haddish. Hadn't seen it, haven't heard anything of it, so I'm sure it's probably coming. And she'll be covering the counseling for those 2 children. So that seems to be at a closing point now, and hopefully, not hopefully, but I'm sure we will see what that number looks like. And maybe not. Maybe they keep,
Yeah, probably not.
I hope not, right? Like for human sake, because we live in a world now where it's just sue. Like that's people. Nobody wants to work. We just talked about it. You're either an entrepreneur, or you find a reason to sue. Like that's the world we live in. Nobody want to work no more.
Bruh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. I'm being sued right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're handicapped. Why are they suing you?
I remember I told y'all back in June, wifey got in a little fender bender.
Mm.
And
oh yeah, I remember.
Now that person's suing our insurance.
Yeah.
They have pain and suffering and mental anguish, and all this other shit, and they calculate the amount of being $10 per hour for every waking hour, which is 16 hours a day since June to now. That totals about 16 grand. And then they calculate that this person will have this pain and suffering for the rest of their life. And they're based on their calculations, the rest of their life will be another 58.3 years. So that totals out to about $3.4 million. But they're willing to settle out of court for the maximum of my liability insurance from my car insurance of $100,000.
Right, of course. Right. Except for the fact that there's 2 sides of every case, and the lawyers are gonna look at it and they're gonna be like,
yeah,
the maximum this person was going was like 7 miles per hour. That shit happened to my one of my coworkers, man.
Steve, we took pictures of the car, like the dent in the girl's bumper. It's like the size of a quarter.
Yeah.
And she says she has pain and suffering and mental anguish that's gonna last for the rest of her life. For like the chick was trying to leave the accident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why ain't let her leave?
No, so here's the thing, right? My wife called me. She said, I just got in a car accident. I'm like, oh shit, you okay? Whoop, whoop, whoop. That kind of, she's like, yeah, I'm good. She was like, the girl is actually trying to leave. And I'm like, shit, let her leave. And then she said,
this was in Tampa, right?
Yeah. And then she says, She was like, yeah, okay. She was like, but she did take pictures of our car and our license plate. I was like, nah, call the cops. Because I was afraid months are gonna go by and then we're gonna hear some shit. You see what I'm saying?
She would have said Aaron left.
Right. And now I don't got no paperwork. You know what I mean? So I was like, nah, call the cops. Let's get some paperwork so we can get the insurance involved or whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that we did, because who knows where the fuck we would be if it was just us versus her, instead of our insurance company is basically handling most of the shit, but they send me some shit that I got to fill out or whatever as part of the settlement shit or whatever. But the adjuster said that he doesn't think that it'll be the full $100,000, but he has to like look at everything before he makes them. They're asking for the 100. He's gonna counter, but he don't know what the number is gonna be yet until after he looks at all the pictures and her medical history and all this kind of shit like that or whatever to determine what the real number should be. So he says he'll come up. He said he told me like the way it works is our liability coverage is for 100,000, so they're asking for the 100,000. He's gonna look at everything, make an offer. Whatever that number is gonna be, they're gonna say it's too low, and they'll probably meet somewhere in the middle. And then he was like, at the end of the day, the insured person, i.e., me, is gonna be like, I can't believe y'all gave them that much money. And then the people who get the money gonna be like I feel like I got screwed over. So
it's always like that.
Yeah, like it's fucking bullshit, man.
People don't want to work, man. Shit, we've been hit a couple times down here and never like. I mean, the one time that I was like, "Yo, we need to hit their insurance," bitch ain't have it. She ain't have no insurance. She ain't have no house. Like every single lawyer we talked to was like, "Yeah, there's nothing to go after." You know what I'm saying? Like you might get her mud jeans and a couple pairs of shoes because she ain't got shit. So that fell through, but nobody want to work, man.
And his chick's insurance is fucking
the general
boy. Nah, Morgan.
Oh yeah, that's
not our insurance.
Her lawyer.
Her lawyer.
Yeah, they wouldn't take our case because she ain't have insurance. Yeah. That sounds about right. You probably she'll get something like 50-60K.
Fucking bullshit, man.
Mm-hmm. Your insurance will go up.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? So she gonna feel like she got screwed over, even though she got $60,000 in her pocket. Meanwhile, I'm paying double my fucking insurance rate or something.
Yeah.
So I get screwed twice.
Such is life, man. That's what you got insurance for. All right. So last week we started looking at some picks, or we made our picks, and it wasn't the greatest. You and I both went 8 for something like 16. Mm-hmm. EJ went 5 for 16. Not good. We all three of us had Thursday nights. 8 and 8. I'm sorry, yeah. 8 of 16. Thursday night we all were wrong. We had Pittsburgh and they lost. So this week we will get started as soon as EJ comes back again. But while we wait for him, huge game for your division. The Dolphins and
game of the week
and Buffalo Bills will be playing. There's a lot of divisional games this week. That's probably like a top 5 game. I mean, you got to remember the Cowboys are playing, so and the Cowboys are playing the Giants with a backup quarterback. Like anytime that happens, we're going to be the talk of the century as usual. So
I mean, the thing that kind of pissed me off was like, it's 6 undefeated teams left. 2 of them are playing each other, Miami and Buffalo. And it's not like old Miami where we're usually, just a piece of shit or whatever. Like we got a new team coming off a huge win. Buffalo, people are talking about them being Super Bowl contenders, and that game is not even like on CBS's like national radar. They put the Chiefs Colts game as their big game where they sent Romo and your boy, the other guy, I can't remember his name. And I'm like, the fuck are you thinking? Yeah, like I saw there's a guy I follow, Barry Jackson. He's a reporter for the Miami Herald who covers the Dolphins. And he's been reporting all week saying like how people locally have been like killing the local CBS affiliates. Like, why the fuck isn't this game on or whatever, and they've been switching from the local affiliates have been switching from the KC to the Dolphins game or whatever. He was like, and it's really hard to get them to do that, but some fans have been getting them to do it. But here in Central Florida, we don't even have a game at 1 o'clock on our CBS affiliate. They decided to go with the Jacksonville game at 4 o'clock. So it's going to be like fucking bull riding or some bullshit on at 1. And then the Jacksonville game on at 4.
Well, it's market based, and you also got to remember, like, a lot of times these are contracted broadcasts. That's why at times all the games are done, and there might be one game left, and you won't see it. Playing, they won't show it. You're waiting, and they might have a whole quarter left, and they won't pull it over because it's there's a contract involved there. So they still got to maintain that. And I don't think it's not for you and me, right? It's not for our 5 TVs in our house. It's like the contracts that they have with some of those larger entities. It's the bars and the large businesses and stuff that pay that extra money for certain stuff. But
and I get what you're saying, but the thing that always like and I'm a Dolphins fan, so I'm obviously biased, right? But we live here in Central Florida. We don't have.
You should be a Cowboys fan. Then you would see all your games.
But we have 3 teams in the state. But if you live in Central Florida, you either always are watching the Jags or the Bucks, and it's like, it's more than just Jags and Bucks fans here or whatever. Like, what the fuck? So,
well, those are the 2 closest.
Fuck that.
You moved here. You could still be living in Miami. You'd be able to see all your Miami games, I'm sure. Or just buy an NFL Sunday ticket, or wait until Amazon takes over. Because
I'm signing up today. Because I gotta see this game.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get started. Because we don't know what the outlook looks like, and we only got about another hour or so. And I know we'll have some dialogue. So let's start real quick. New Orleans, Carolina is also a divisional game. What's that look like for you guys?
I'm going with the NO.
Yeah, I go with New Orleans. I mean, I don't think you're gonna go wrong either way.
Let me get you got it, Steve, or you need me to do it?
I got it.
Okay.
Carolina doesn't have a quarterback still, right? Oh, they got Baker still, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a quarterback.
Alvin Kamara's banged up. This could be a trap game for New Orleans, but I'm gonna go with them. New Orleans as well. Houston going into Chicago. You got probably the 2 worst teams in the league.
I'm going with the Bears.
Yeah, I go with Chicago.
Yeah, I gotta go with Chicago. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna. We'll see today. Justin Fields. The reality of if he's gonna be something, because it's finally he's not in monsoonish weather. Mm-hmm. He had that 2 weeks in a row, and playing against a pretty bad team. So. KC going into Indy. Indy is back with Michael Pittman this week.
KC.
Something historically, I read some type of stat that Mahomes, like every time he plays Indy, he has a problem or doesn't throw more than like 1 touchdown. I mean, I say all that to still pick him, but I'm going with KC. But I just found it was interesting, the little stat.
And you know what? For me, when beginning of the season, when we did our like bold predictions for the season, I had the Colts like as like a dark horse. I thought they got a good team overall. I kind of felt like Matt Ryan was an upgrade over Carson Wentz, and they look like dog shit.
Yeah, I never checked the Colts.
They do, but it's only. I mean, we're only 2 weeks in. You know what I mean? And these guys, we live in this world now where everyone's too good to play in the preseason. Like, anyone who starts is too fucking good to play in preseason. It's out of control. And then you wonder why it gets off to this slow start.
I hear you, Steve, but at the same time, though, at the same time, though, you got your quarterback who's making $60 million. Like, you can't take that risk in the preseason.
Like, in a bullshit game. Like, I mean,
yeah,
it's the preseason. It's not even. The preseason isn't even for the starters. It's for the people trying to make a team, and it's football. Like, in any other sport, right? In high school or college, you might have scrimmages, but you don't really have live game action in high school or college. You just play the season and you work out the kinks. It is what it is. So if I'm a millionaire and we playing
But
a
you get
bullshit
practice in
game,
college and high school.
yeah, they get
And
practice. That's what mini camp is for. OTAs is for.
that shit's trash.
Yeah,
It's trash.
but you get mad.
Quarterbacks don't get
Let
hit.
Dak play. Let Dak play in a bullshit preseason game, and his knee gets fucked up. Then you gonna be mad.
I don't
Makes no
understand
sense.
why everything has to go back to Dak and the Cowboys. But I feel the same way about anybody. It doesn't have to be a whole game, but then people wonder why injuries are so high week 1, 2, and 3. They wonder why people come out sluggish and play like shit. Like you got those guys, don't get me wrong. The superstars, I'm not saying that they should. The megastars, the Aaron Rodgers, those guys, I get them sitting out. But not one starter, like think about it, running backs, they might get 2 snaps in preseason. It's gone already down from 4 to 3 games. So now they already weren't playing in the 4th game. So now they're not playing in the 3rd game. You know what I'm saying? They're not playing in the first preseason game. So you're
Steve is
getting
real Republican when it comes to sports, yo. He's like, I don't give a shit. I want to see my players play all the time. Preseason.
But also,
I don't care.
But also, Steve, when you look at these injuries that happen to these guys in the beginning of the season, a lot of it is like soft tissue shit. You know what I mean, like hamstrings and that kind of stuff like that, or whatever. And some of that shit is just preparation. Like, are you stretching properly? Are you?
You know
why?
What I mean? Because it's not being used.
No, I mean,
Stefania Bell said that last week. The same thing you're saying. She said the exact same thing about the soft tissue and the ligaments.
Who?
Is because Stefania Bell, the reporter that's like she has a doctor degree or some shit, a degree to be a medical degree. Anyway, she said the same thing. She's like, it's because these guys, their bodies aren't used to it. They're not using it at all. Practice has gotten weak leading up to the season, right? We watch the practices. These guys aren't hitting. Don't get me wrong. You probably shouldn't hit hard, right? But they're barely blocking each other. Like the running backs are letting up before they even get into the hole. Pause. Like it's almost like a joke leading into the season for them to then come out and people wonder why week 1 is slow, week 2 is slow. People are getting hurt.
I feel you, Steve, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. My whole point is just that the amount of money that you're paying players now, it's tough to make an argument of why they should play the preseason, because you could risk so much, with like imagine, you got your you got your left tackle that you just paid $30 million a season to, and some rookie defensive lineman chips him or something like that, and now he's out for the year. Like that's
so
a tough
instead
call.
you have Tyron Smith get hurt in the first game because his body is like, what is this?
You rather them get hurt in a game versus a meaningless game. Right. And the other thing is we talk as if these dudes, when they're not in a game, they're just sitting around. These dudes are high performance athletes that simulate action all year round, and getting hurt is just getting hurt. It's there's no miracle to it. There is no protection against it. That's why the NFL is the way it is. It's a contact violent sport, and it happens. You know what I mean? Basketball, I mean, same thing. These guys, it's not as violent, but dudes have knee issues when they're jumping around. Okay, they play year round. Basketball doesn't even stop playing there.
And they play in the preseason.
And they still get hurt. And they still get hurt.
And they play in the preseason.
And they still get hurt in the preseason.
Right. Not as frequent. Way less injuries in basketball than in football.
It's not as much contact either.
There's
no way to you get hit with a helmet the wrong way. That shit is gonna hurt you in preseason or a regular game. It doesn't matter.
Right. So how does that?
You rather it happen in a real game.
Okay. All right. You got it. You got it for injuries. But what about for overall performance? These guys come out and they look like shit. To VP's point, this whole conversation started because he said Indy looks like dog shit.
Well, Indy doesn't have a good team. It has nothing to do with the preseason. They don't have a good team.
They made the playoffs last year.
That doesn't say a lot of shit. That means the AFC was bad. You had a lot of bad teams in the AFC. The Colts aren't good. When have they been good?
They
When
were
were
good
they good?
last year. They were good last
But
year.
they were good last year. Had a good defense. They had a
Absolutely.
shitty offense.
They had the
They had
best
Carson Wentz,
they had the best running back in the league last year. Come on, stop.
a
Stop.
running back.
Stop.
That's it. You
Stop. You're
can't.
talking with emotion, not facts.
Well, how am I
Stop.
talking with emotion? I'm telling you
Be-
the fact that all they have was a
Because
running back,
you're saying they were trash. They had the best running back in the league last year.
and
By
that's
far.
and so when
And it
Christian
wasn't even
McCaffrey
close.
when Christian McCaffrey was the best running back in the league, the Panthers were good. No, a
He
good
was
running
hurt.
back is not the
He
a
was
good
hurt.
running back is not the only thing your team
Did-
needs. Derrick
did-
Henry, one of the best running backs in the league. The Titans don't win shit. They're 0-2 right now.
Right.
A running back doesn't make your
wait.
roster.
Vari, hand me the key because he's a prisoner of the moment.
You're a prisoner.
You're
of the
telling
moment.
you're telling me the Titans.
You're telling me the Colts were good because they got Jonathan Taylor. That's
They
it.
won 12 games last year.
You telling me that they're good because they have Jonathan Taylor?
This is
They
the
won 12
same
games.
guy. This is the same guy that says that Mike McCarthy is a great coach because the Cowboys won 12 games, but Indy
I
sucks
didn't
and
say
they
he was
won
a great
12
coach. I
games.
said he has a pedigree that he's won a Super Bowl.
The
You're
great thing
bitching.
is
You're
the
bitching
great thing about
about
the
him being a
internet is
bad
that it's
coach
recorded.
because he has 12. He won 12 games, but you're bitching that he's a bad coach.
He is a
He
bad
won
coach.
12 games.
He has no control over his team. There's no discipline there. Buffalo and Miami.
You're fucking
VP.
Republican when it comes to sports. Just what it is.
Because I say that guys should play so they don't get hurt in the first week. I guess that
And if
makes me
they play the
Republican.
preseason and they get hurt, and then you don't have them for the season, what the fuck was the point?
Yeah, but if your aunt had a dick, she'd be your uncle. Like you're talking about ifs. I'm talking about they should do something. I'm talking about they should do something to prevent something.
You're saying if they play in the preseason,
your
they're not going
response
to get hurt.
and your response is, well, they have a chance of getting hurt. Well, they have a chance of getting hurt week 1 too. What's the difference?
And you think playing in the preseason makes a difference? If you get hurt, you get hurt.
It does.
It's just football.
It absolutely does.
Doesn't.
If you look at the players that did play in the preseason, those are the guys that are having a
Philadelphia. Zach Wilson played in the preseason, got fucking hurt in the preseason. And the Jets haven't had their starting quarterback for 4 games. What the fuck are you talking about?
He's not a good player.
Philadelphia he got hurt in the preseason. Shut the fuck up.
Philadelphia played their starters. They're 2-0.
Oh boy.
Buffalo played
Zach Wilson.
Buffalo played their starters 2-0. Kansas City played their starters 2-0. Like, come on, man. You're talking out of emotion.
There's only 2 teams that didn't play their starters at all. Green Bay is the only one that didn't play.
Who else?
Who else didn't play?
Tampa Bay. You know,
Tom Brady never fucking plays.
You know who else?
Yeah,
but that's the problem, EJ. You can't say there's only 2 and then I give you 5. That makes you wrong.
2. You gave me 2.
All right, Dallas. That's
you
3.
said Green Bay and Tampa Bay.
You want to keep going?
Did play in the preseason, didn't he?
No, he didn't. You want to keep going? Los Angeles, the Rams.
That's 4. So none of the starters of the Cowboys at all played in the preseason.
That's 4. Should we keep going?
You're talking about Dak Prescott.
Going?
You're talking about Dak Prescott. Okay.
Cincinnati.
Are you going to answer the question? So you're telling me none of the starters played on these teams? None of their starters.
Because I can give you another.
No, I'm asking you. None of their starters played.
Baltimore. That's
none
6.
None of their starters played.
Las Vegas. That's 7. Shall we continue? New Orleans.
And
that's
Baltimore
8.
is 1-1.
You know what the difference is, EJ? 8 is more than 2.
You're not even making sense.
Only 2.
You're not even making sense.
You can't say only 2. Right. So I speak fact, you speak emotion. I speak fact.
What is your fact? What are you saying?
Buffalo.
Your whole thing is you went from injuries. They don't play the preseason, so they get injured. Then when we throw that shit out in the bathwater, you're like, now they look like shit. Indy looks like shit because they have fucking Carson Wentz as a quarterback right now. They're not good.
They don't. They have Matt Ryan as a quarterback.
Matt Ryan, same thing. They're not good.
Speaking from emotion versus fact.
They're not good.
Vari.
They're not good.
Buffalo or Miami?
For the game of the week, man, like I want to say Buffalo, but I think we actually upset Buffalo because Buffalo has a bunch of key injuries on defense, especially in the secondary.
Because they play in the preseason.
Their Pro Bowl safety Micah Hyde got put on IR. He's out for the season. Jordan Poyer, he's listed as questionable, but from media reports, I'm saying that he's likely not going to play. Jordan Phillips is out at a defensive tackle. The other defensive tackle, Ed Oliver, is out. And then their starting cornerback, Dane Jackson, is also out. So they're going to have a rookie at cornerback and then 2 rookies at safeties going against Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So I got to go with us, man.
Is
I gotta go with
Tre'Davious
the
White
Dolphins.
playing?
The good thing for Buffalo is their rookie corner Elam played against.
He's not
all
on the
these
injury
guys.
report, so I would say yeah.
Played against all these guys in SEC. Elam, their rookie corner from Florida, played against all these guys in the SEC for like 3.5 years in a row. So he got cooked. I'm just saying.
I got a better question for you. Is Tua playing?
Yes.
All right, I'm going Buffalo.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, our defense got a big task ahead of them this week. You know, one thing, like people have been like saying, like Dolphins defense don't look the same as it did last year, and I think part of that is because Byron Jones is out. He was on the PUP list when the season started, so he has to do that 4-week IR where we can't get him back until week 5 because of that.
Yeah.
And now, like our guys, like Nick Needham, who normally covers slot receivers, he's playing the number 2 receiver, where Byron Jones and X usually play on an island, and then the 2 guys covering slots get safety help. And now he ain't getting that no more. And I think it's kind of exposing him playing against better talent. But we'll see what happens, man. But I got us, man.
Good thing for y'all. Y'all got 2 top tier corners, and the only person in the world Josh Allen seems to throw to is Stephon Diggs. So at some point, y'all got to do something.
You shut your mouth about that. Shut your mouth about Stephon Diggs.
I got him on fantasy too. I'm just saying it's the only guy this dude throws to.
Hey, so, we appreciate that.
So Tyreek talked big shit this week. He better have a good game. Like we've learned in the past, these stars come out, they got all this big shit to talk, and of course that's what you want to hear, right? You want to hear that from your guys, but it doesn't always pan out. So he said that he said he was cooking Buffalo. He had no problem cooking them when he was in Kansas City, and they're trash. So
yeah, he was talking crazy. I'm gonna tell you this: either way, whoever wins, I'm gonna be sick. But I think I'd rather deal with. You know what? Honestly, I don't want either one of them to win. I'm gonna predict a tie, but I'm gonna go with. It pains me to say this, man. I don't. I'm gonna go with. Fuck.
Go ahead. Go and do it. Go ahead. Go for it.
Go for it. I'm gonna go.
There you go. There you go.
I'm gonna go Miami.
Yo, I don't know if I posted this shit in the chat, but I saw this one of those memes on Twitter, and it's the one where like the girlfriend's like looking at the guy, and she's like, "I bet he's thinking about other girls," and then the dude is like, "Man, they think I'm an asshole now. Wait till we beat Buffalo."
I hope it ends in a tie.
You're going Miami too, Vari?
Yeah, come on, is that a question?
All right. Yeah, yes, and yes. I'm going with Buffalo.
Miami, man.
Detroit, Minnesota, another divisional game.
Where is it?
It's in Minnesota.
I'm going. Oh, these Lions are kind of. I thought they were ass when I watched Hard Knocks, but they kind of. Dan Campbell got. I mean, hey, that dude. Like you listen to him talk, man. He reminds me of like when we was in the Marines and shit. We used to talk about like you get like some of those leaders where you're like, man, I'll run through a wall for that dude. You know what I mean? Like he kind of reminds me of that. Like he's getting the most out of these guys because they don't got a lot, and he's getting a lot out of them.
I'm gonna go with Detroit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Detroit.
You've been baiting me all week with these damn Marines are the strongest in the world bullshit.
I didn't say strongest. I just said, I said the finest, the best.
Yeah, I know. Until they have a migraine and don't show up for work. I'm going. I think this is a bounce back game for Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. So I'm going Minnesota in this one. Baltimore is going into New England, coming off of the comeback from last week.
Baltimore. I felt bad in that Baltimore. I didn't feel bad like that we won, but I mean, like, I feel like I could see
Lamar.
I could see the Ravens using that as an excuse not to pay Lamar. I mean, you didn't beat the Dolphins. You got beat by 2, and he's like, "Yeah, I had a fucking career day. Like, I don't play defense. Like, what the fuck? I put up 38 fucking points."
Yeah,
listen,
I'm
Baltimore, the Ravens are going to use whatever they can because they're assholes. But I, to your point, I feel like him losing that game made the Dolphins get, overshadow him in the media all week because he had a great game. He had a career
Yeah.
day.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Baltimore, I guess.
I got Baltimore in that game. Cincinnati goes into MetLife to see the New York Jets,
Just
New Jersey
remove me,
Jets.
from this. Remove me from this. I don't want to answer this question.
Cincinnati Bengals are 0-2. The New York Jets have Tom Brady Jr. on their team as the quarterback. Joe Flacco,
Ah,
who led a game. Listen, man, who
He
was
didn't
it that
play.
they
He didn't play in the preseason.
Cleveland. So Cleveland led up last week. They thought, it was in hand, and the Jets have those. They're young. Besides Flacco, that team is young, and those guys are hungry, and they got a young coach. You know,
mhm.
they just look like they wanted to win that game, and they did. But
They
this
don't know
week,
they're supposed to
I
suck yet.
think they're gonna have a tough. I think they have a tough go at it. Um, I don't know though. Cincinnati's O line is they're not holding up. They're just not holding up, as we saw.
EJ.
In typical fashion, the Jets will win a game, and then they'll win a perfect, the storybook game. And next week we're gonna get thumped, and this is we're gonna get thumped at home, and we'll be back to the Monday morning couch quarterback issues that the franchise has. We beat Cincinnati last year when they were hot, so they're extra pissed off, and they're 0-2. I'm gonna go with Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm with Cincinnati also. They gotta win a game eventually. Like that Super Bowl slump is a real thing. It looks like, but I don't think the Jets have it because really they shouldn't have won last week. By the way they played, so I don't see anything that makes me think that they should win or they're gonna win this week. But also, same thing with Cincinnati. Like their defense, you're letting Cooper Rush pick you apart. The whole first half, like it just didn't look that good for them either. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, all right, the 0 and
Oh, I
2.
didn't pick.
You shook your head. I know what that
Yeah,
means.
no, I'm going with the Jets. The Jets are going to win this game.
Okay.
Mute this motherfucker.
You heard it here first.
I'm sick of this shit.
You heard it here first.
Fucking disrespectful.
Okay. Yo,
All right.
that O line is fucking trash on Cincinnati, and their defense is suspect, man.
Yeah, and this is going to be the week they're going to play
Flacco's not
well.
Tom Brady, but he's serviceable enough.
He is. I like are they gonna play Denzel? Did you guys you traded Denzel Mims, didn't they? They traded
No,
Denzel
he's
Mims?
still
No,
on
they
the
still
team.
got him?
They
Fucking guy, man.
They're just sitting them there. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
He's like 6'3", runs like a 4'6", right? 4'7".
No, he's 4'4" guy, 4'3" guy.
What are we doing? Not we. What are they doing?
He might be like the dude we drafted, the wide receiver from Arizona State, Izumika or whatever.
He
Like
can
the
play.
dude's a beast, and he hasn't played every week. He's been a healthy scratch. And Wes Welker, our wide receivers coach, was like, he ain't ready. He's not doing what we need him to do yet.
Denzel Mims did something to LaFleur and his family, but I also think this dude LaFleur is an idiot. I think he's an idiot.
Send him deep.
He's from Dallas. I mean, he's from Texas. Our OC, right? Our rookie comes out, Garrett Wilson. Our rookie comes out, balls out.
I like that kid.
Class, right? Top 10 pick, right? Some say he's the best receiver in this class, right? His first game gets no touches, basically, couple snaps. Second game, people are like, "Yo, get this dude in the game. What are you doing?" He comes in the game, complete game changer. LaFleur comes out post game and says, "Yeah, he still needs to learn the whole playbook." What the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, I've played football for half my natural life, and there's some motherfuckers that couldn't read, let alone read the playbook. And you know what the coaches did? They found a way to get him in the game and figure it out. This motherfucker has a great rookie game, and this motherfucker comes out talking about you still got to learn the playbook. That's the shit they're pulling with Mims.
That's the difference too. When you have a veteran quarterback like a Joe Flacco and rookie receivers. Like rookie receivers can make mistakes when you have a guy like Flacco who is cool. Like he's Joe Cool as well. You know, he's Joe Cool 2.0. Like this guy, when you watch, I was watching it last. First of all, he has nothing to lose. Like he has no intention of winning a Super Bowl this year. You know what I'm saying? So whatever he does out there right now, I think is just the tail end of his career. He's going to be happy for a win, and if he loses, fuck it, he loses. And you could see that, you know, he didn't have, you know, butterflies. He wasn't jumping in the pocket. He stood his ground. He made good throws. And these young kids, to your point, sure, they may not look the greatest in practice, but they can make a mistake when you have this veteran guy who knows how to throw the ball the right way and knows, all right, maybe I won't throw it this time. I'll just take, you know, I'll take the down and live to play another down. And I think that's where these young receivers, when they come in with veteran quarterbacks, they look better. But if you had put, you know, these guys like a Mims or somebody on a Dolphins team, I could see him sitting. I just don't see any point of him sitting right now. Not with the Flacco out there.
But the thing with this team, right, is just stupid. That last year you had Elijah Mitchell. He was a rookie. He came out. He balled out. Denzel Mims, outside of Elijah Mitchell, is probably the most consistent wide receiver the Jets have had. The dude had a rookie season, drafted second round. He had a good season, right? Bad system. His second year, he's sick, doesn't play well in the beginning, so they use that as an excuse. But they don't disclose that this dude is sick until the end, and they justify benching him in his bad OTAs and all of this stuff by just saying he wasn't prepared. But the dude was sick the whole time. He comes back this year, fully healthy, balling out in preseason, the most productive receiver the entire season. Like, looks like he can't be covered, and you just have him playing on the bench. And you're gonna tell me a dude named Vincent Smith is better than this guy? Get the fuck out of here, man. He did something to this guy's family. He had to. I mean, I'm convinced.
It's all in the name. The Raiders are 0-2. Some people had them as the toughest offense coming in this week or this year. I'm sorry, and they're going into Tennessee, who's also 0-2, and neither one of those teams played in the preseason. So, who do you guys have? Las Vegas Raiders going into Tennessee.
I'm gonna go with the Raiders here.
You know he was going with the Raiders. He doesn't like Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, good point. Good
That's
point.
trash.
I'm gonna go with Vegas because they should have lost last week.
And Tannehill's trash.
Las Vegas should win this game, man. They really should.
Because Tannehill's trash.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go Tennessee.
It's y'all fault. He's a quarterback. Motherfucker was a receiver in college. What were y'all thinking?
That's true. I
You're
cannot
he's
refute
white.
that.
Let's put him at quarterback.
I can't refute that.
Philly, another divisional game. Philly going into Washington. 2-0 Philly. 1-1 Washington. Philly. I got Washington. I got Washington. Carson Wentz is going to get it done.
Talk about making a pick with his heart.
They're both in my division.
Yeah, but you rather Philly lose.
You hate the Eagles though.
No, listen. Have you guys been watching Washington?
No,
Washington. Yeah, I'm more concerned with Washington than the Eagles. The Eagles, they look good early on, but I don't think Jalen Hurts
can. Exactly, man. You know we're football fans too.
Out of here, man.
I hate the Jets. I hate the Patriots. EJ hates the Dolphins. He hates the Pats. And we're like, Bills. I mean, I don't care for them. They're in the division, but like, I don't feel like there's like active hatred in my heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, you telling me he thinks the same team that just lost? Didn't they just lose Jacksonville?
Yeah.
He's telling me he thinks that team is scary.
Carson Wentz threw for 337 and 3 last week, 313 and 4 the week before.
Philly.
That team, listen. All right.
Wow, Steve, you stooped to a new low.
Yeah.
All right. When Washington wins, I don't want to hear, "Oh, it was just luck and it just happened." I don't want to hear that.
Hey,
Jacksonville.
For the people on the live stream, he's doing this for you.
Front, motherfucker. Frontin'. Pharrell ass boy.
Jacksonville going into Los Angeles Chargers.
Chargers.
Chargers. They need it.
Yeah, I'm with the Chargers. Herbert is the real deal, man.
And hey, this might be the last week you can say it, Steve. So you might as well. The division leading Jacksonville Jaguars going to the Chargers.
Well, then again, though, because Herbert, I think he may play, but he has a torn rib.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. He got a rib injury.
Torn rib injury.
They say he's gonna try to take the shot.
Yeah.
And remember last time their doctor fucked up. It's the same doctor.
They're gonna puncture his aorta. Justin Herbert is out for the rest of his life.
Oh,
It's the same doctor.
Who's
And
the backup?
you know Tyrod's suing that doctor too, so he gonna have that shit on his mind. Like, oh shit.
yo.
Got a needle like
Holy cow. What's Jacksonville's record right now? 2-0?
1-1.
1-1?
Hey, that Philly defense might eat this week. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm still sticking Washington. So, all right. So all three of us got the Chargers. The Rams going into Arizona. This is a good game, I think.
Yeah.
Divisional. Rams don't look that great either, man.
They don't. I'm gonna go Rams, but they don't look that good, man.
I'm gonna go with Kyler Murray.
I kind of feel like Arizona's gonna win this game too, man. I really do.
I think last week was a fluke.
Yeah, I mean, if he read his playbooks, I could go with him. I'm gonna go with the Rams. So
He definitely ain't reading those playbooks because they were showing sacks that I saw when like people doing film breakdown, and it was shit that didn't even look disguised, and it's like, how did he not see that?
it seems like he almost feels like, well, it's gonna break down and I'm gonna run it anyway. Like that seems like his mentality. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But all right, Atlanta going into Seattle. Two bad teams.
I'm gonna go Seattle.
Seattle. Gino.
I'm gonna go Atlanta. I think Marcus Mariota is gonna run for a good amount of yards this week, and if Seattle wins, I think we might see Marcus Mariota get benched next week. So there's that. What's the young kid that they drafted? I really like him, and I can't remember his name.
The kid isn't that the kid from no, that's Tennessee.
Cincinnati. The one that played at Cincinnati. Redmond.
Yeah. Yes. What's Ritter?
Same
Yeah,
thing.
Ritter.
Yeah.
That's the one who said, I found out I was gonna be a dad because my girlfriend was pregnant.
What?
And at the draft, you remember that shit, Steve? You know what I'm talking about, right?
I like him though.
He said when my girlfriend told me she was pregnant, that's when I found out I was gonna be a dad. It's like, the fuck.
Yeah, he was bugging. But I like him, man. I think he's
Desmond Ritter is his name.
Yeah, played at Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna be a good kid, man. They said that he was slinging it in practice, and you know, we'll see. They don't have wide receivers, so that's where it gets tough. You know, it doesn't really matter.
They got Kyle Pitts.
Yep. So Green Bay, and that could be good for Kyle Pitts if he gets in there, because young quarterbacks love to throw it to the tight end. Green Bay and Tampa Bay. This is in Tampa. This
is tough, man.
And you got nobody. None of them have wide receivers.
Yeah, injuries like crazy here. And it's in Tampa.
It's in Tampa.
It's tough, man, with the injuries. I'm gonna just fuck. I'm gonna go Tampa, but I'm not sure. It's tough to call this one for me.
I'm gonna go with Tampa. I don't know why Aaron Rodgers went back to Green Bay in the first place.
Yeah, when in doubt, you got to go with the GOAT. None of them have wide receivers. I mean, the good thing is Green Bay has two good running backs, but Tampa Bay's defense is really good too. So, San Fran, we get Jimmy G time.
Porn star Jimmy.
Jimmy G.
And Kittle comes back.
Yo, Stephen A. a fool, yo.
What'd he say?
That's what he said. Somebody was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo on First Take, and he said porn star Jimmy. And then Dan Orlovsky like bust out laughing. He's like, "What? That's what they call him." On First Take, it was like on Thursday. He said that shit.
That's because his girl's a porn star. Just like we talked about that OnlyFans money. So San Fran's going into Denver. This is gonna be a good game too, man. I really think
Kittle comes back.
Kittle's back. I feel like this is gonna be a good test for Russell Wilson. It's the Sunday night game. I want to watch this game. It's in Denver.
I mean, Denver got a real home field advantage, man, with that, with
altitude.
Altitude. I'm gonna go Denver, but I don't feel good about it, man. And also, did y'all see the story I posted about Nathaniel Hackett in the chat earlier this morning?
Mm-mm.
He basically hired an offensive assistant who's gonna help him like with coaching and shit. So he basically hired himself training wheels. And I was like, yo, like if a black coach did some shit like this, like you gotta hire training wheels. You the head man. Like, come on.
It's an associate. They just call him an associate or an assistant.
That's bullshit.
Admin. He's an admin coach. All right, so you got Denver. EJ, who you got? I'm going Denver.
San Fran.
I think San Fran can win this game, but you guys know I like Russell Wilson, man. The division leading they're not division leading. They're tied for division leading. New York Giants are hosting the Dallas Cowboys and Cooper Rush.
Monday night game, right?
Monday night game.
I'm gonna go with Giants.
It's in New York.
I'm gonna go with the Giants.
I'm gonna go Giants as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. I'm not picking the Giants. I'm not doing that. But it's gonna be a tough one. Like I said, man, I told you guys last week, I just need Cooper Rush to go 500. If we lose this game, I'm not mad at it because he's still at 500. If he wins this game, then things will be great. But I'm going Dallas. I feel like they can win this game because Daniel Jones, like, he's not good. Our run defense is really good. So if you're gonna live with Saquon Barkley, it's gonna be troublesome. And the only other one that I'm concerned about is Sterling Shepard. This will be his second week back off the injury. He looked good last week. And if for some reason Daniel Jones gets some time, which their O-line looks okay but not great, Sterling Shepard can probably get loose on Trayvon Diggs because this asshole likes to jump every route.
Let me ask you this, Steve. Dak's out 6 weeks, and in those 6 weeks, y'all go 5-1. Are you want Dak back in, or you want Rush in just on a short lease?
I can't answer that today because I'd have to see what he looks like. I'd have to see what he looks like for those other 5 games or those other. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen him only for 1 game, and if he looked like that and we struggle through and get 5 wins, then I still want Dak back. Because I feel like the knowledge is better. I think Dak has a better vision. He's got the leg piece to it. Like, he can actually move out of the pocket. But I feel like but if he comes out and he turns out, and let's say he goes out today and he throws for, the Giants are not really a good test, but if he throws for 300 yards and we blow them out, and then next week we play, I think we got Washington next week. If I'm not mistaken.
Who you're scared of.
I'm more afraid of them than Philly. More afraid of them than Philly, man.
This guy's out of control. Philly
does this thing that I say at work at times, which I probably shouldn't, is they like to shoot themselves they like to step on their own dicks. Meaning they make stupid
work.
Not on like conference calls or anything, but yeah. So next week is Washington, right? So that's 2 divisional games in a row. And then I think after that is the Rams and then Philly. So this is the toughest our schedule is right now. If this guy can stumble through and win 5 games, there's a conversation to be had at that point.
Okay, that's fair.
And then the second half of our season is straight trash teams, which is why I feel like if he can go 500, the schedule gets tougher for Washington. The schedule gets tougher for Philly. Yeah, we can do something. So Miami, and so you guys got 2 games in. You got a short window for Thursday, VP.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, you're coming out of Buffalo, or I'm sorry, you're coming out of the game. Yeah, you're coming out of Miami, the game with Buffalo, and then you're going off to Cincinnati on the Thursday night game to see Joey Burrow.
And I'm hearing they may leave today, possibly tomorrow, to beat the Storm.
It would make sense. And you'll have a Joe Burrow who's likely going to be coming off of
a loss to the Jets, like I predicted.
A tough day with the Jets, because I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you guys have pretty decent pass rush in New York, and they don't have a line, so it may not be a good pass rush, but they don't have an offensive line. La'el Collins went over there and was like, "I got your back. You'll never get hit." First thing Micah Parsons did, push this nigga through the fucking dirt. Your protection is in town now.
He said the bodyguard is here now.
Yeah, we know you though, dog. Like, we know you. You played for us. We know your weakness.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The one thing, you know what? The one thing with La'el Collins though this season, and I think it's a problem, is he hasn't had the penalties. Like with us, he had tons and tons of penalties, which makes me think he was just getting off early. Pause. And so now he's not getting off, and guys are just beating him. That was a horrible sentence. But
that's us. Hey, Steve, but that's us with your boy Connor Williams. I remember I asked you about him. You was like, "Yo, he's good, but he gets penalized a lot. Hasn't really been getting a lot of penalties." And we moved him to center. We got him playing center for us now.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. I'm sorry. Miami goes into Cincinnati, the Thursday night game. EJ, who you got?
I'm gonna take Miami.
I'm going Miami as well. And if my predictions all hold, that means we're talking about an 0-4 Cincinnati.
I'm going Cincinnati Thursday night.
Wow. Yeah.
That's in the books. I'm just not sold on Miami right now.
Did we pick the Pats or they got to buy?
No, we picked
the Pats. It's Baltimore versus Patriots.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I pulled up these stats here, and I think I'm like, where's the Pats game so I can lay these stats out?
Oh,
we're talking about because EJ said, "Yo, how could y'all trade Devontae Parker within the division? Y'all crazy." And I'm looking, I'm like, "Yo, he got a point, man. This motherfucker's averaging 9 yards per catch. The only difference is he only has 1 catch on the season."
Well, they don't have a quarterback.
That's true. They don't have a quarterback.
It's up for debate. They got a quarterback.
And they don't really have a good head coach. Like, he's a system guy. He's a system guy. That too. So Josh McDaniels and they have a defensive coordinator at offensive coordinator, right? So right. Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady are who made Belichick look like a goat.
That's what it's looking like, man.
If one would say. But yeah, we'll see. All right. Speaking of New England, Ikbe Udoka.
Udoka. Ikbe.
Ikbe. Listen.
Ime.
Oh, it's Ime? I thought it was IKBE.
How you ruin this man's name?
He's Nigerian. Ime don't sound no Nigerian. I guess it does a little bit.
Ime Udoka.
But Ikbe sounds more Nigerian than Ime.
Oh, Ikbe sounds like I'm trying to be racist. like if somebody was talking about a black person, they was like, "What's her name?" Like Shaquanda. Like,
no, it's Alice. That doesn't sound black.
Exactly.
It's Ikbe. All right, Ime Udoka.
Udoka.
We really got to stop butchering these people's names every week.
You know what name I can't pronounce? Nia Long. Which
Here we
I
go.
mean, she's what, 20 years removed from the movies that we've known her from, and the TV shows, and being Will Smith's girlfriend.
Shit,
Um
more than that.
25,
Probably like
27 years.
25 plus.
2025. um so anyway, Ime Udoka cheated on Nia Long with, I mean, based on the reports, he fucked all of the fucking Boston Celtics. Like every day, every day there's a different fucking.
Oh
there's
shit.
like one day it's the assistant, then it's the VP of this, and
Yeah.
now it's like the strength and conditioning girl. Like, and then they're like, oh, this is the relocation. The chick that handles the relocations, the admin.
Yeah, I saw that
She
this morning.
like,
Damn.
I don't think the truth ever has come out yet. And so the 1 year suspension without knowing the details sounds harsh, right? I mean,
Mhm.
especially when you just had everything take place with Sarver. But we don't know the details. And what if the details are that this guy was just running around spreading seed all over like the organization,
Yeah.
it could be bad. Once we get the deets, we'll see. But what's you guys' thoughts on that? Like, first of all, what's your thoughts on cheating on Nia Long?
I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I can't.
Show me a baddie, I'll show you someone who's tired of beating it. The age old, like, it don't matter how bad the chick is, right? Show me a baddie, and I'll show you a guy that's tired of it.
I
And
mean,
everyone always says, "Man, that dude's crazy."
right. And everybody always says that, like, "Oh, how could you cheat on Nia Long? She's so bad." Blah blah. But you don't know what their relationship was like. You know what I mean? Like they could have had a toxic home life or some shit. You know what I mean? You don't fucking know. You know what I mean? So
Oh, that's what we're
it's
talking
huh?
about. I was gonna go somewhere else, but sure.
Oh,
Toxic home life sounds good.
but
If Jada Pinkett can cheat on Will Smith, who has hundreds of millions of dollars, illustrious acting career for August Alsina, who some of us may not even have listened to his whole album before.
I don't think I've
Maybe,
heard of
I don't
something.
know. Right? I mean, again, it just goes to show you, like you're saying, oh, Nia's so bad, but we don't wake up with her in the morning. You know what I mean? And
You might not
she
wake up with her in the morning. She might be a prude.
But
Go ahead, VP. You said you left off at toxic relationship.
right. So that part of it, it's like, who knows? You know what I mean? But the thing that I thought was like really like shitty on the Celtics part is like the way that they keep like leaking out this information like piecemeal. And then people are basically just doing Google searches and says, "Oh, here's a woman who works for the Celtics. He smashed her." You know what I mean? And then like,
Yeah,
because remember
she,
at first it was the scouting lady, and then people now it came out saying no, it's not her. And then it was like the VP of finance, and then now the travel assistant, and you know what I mean? And we don't know. You know what I mean? And so I think they're doing a disservice to their female employees. But I will say this though, it appears like the media knows who it is, but they're not saying, or it appears that they know more than what they're saying.
somebody knows, yeah.
Right. Because like I saw Matt Barnes, who was like, when this shit first came out, he came out and defended Ime. And then the next day he was like, he talked to some people in the organization and he deleted his tweets and all that shit like that. Cause he was like, the shit is much worse than what's being reported. So, I've thought from the beginning for them to suspend him for a season over what they're calling consensual sex, like it has to be a lot worse than what's being put out in the media at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's too early to call. It's too early to say. I mean, the fact that it is consensual. I mean, at what point do how do you obtain this information? Like, if it's against the policy, how did you obtain this information? What happened?
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
that's and EJ, you exactly, because I saw, and that's the thing, like you keep seeing these different reports. I saw a report saying that there were some unwanted advances, and this young lady apparently, I guess, talked to like HR or something like that in the Celtics organization, which led to an investigation, which is how they found out all the rest of this shit. But again, we don't know that because they're not saying.
Right. And yeah, it's nasty. It doesn't make a lot of sense. They put this out there, and then I'm wondering the timeline, and I joked about it, but I won't be surprised if we find out that this shit happened last season and they let this motherfucker coach an entire season without it being an issue, and now it's an issue. So I mean, I could see the Celtics doing some shit like that. Like we knew
I
about
don't,
it last year, but he was coaching so well, we let him rock. You know.
Yeah.
I agree with you, VP, on a lot of it. I feel like the biggest piece for me, when you say the organization leaking it, like I don't like the biggest is the headline. Like don't call it consensual. Like don't outline 100%. Oh, it's consensual, and then be like, yeah, we're gonna suspend this guy for a year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because number one, he's not married, right? So technically, it's not adultery. You know what I'm saying? They weren't living in the same place, right? So she was living somewhere, he was living in Boston. So now it's just what we know versus his word. If
Hmm.
you're trying to run that route, because he could be like, no, we wasn't fucking around. Like she lived over there for a reason.
Right.
But you're calling it consensual, and that makes it seem like, I want to be very careful when saying this, but you're hearing a lot of this in places in general, right? And it's almost like in 2022, you're not allowed to seek companionship in the workplace.
In most
In
places,
gen
it's just
in
frowned upon.
in general, right? Like what if we spend 8 hours a day at work, right? And this is completely off of email. I'm just saying in general, as humans, we spend 8 hours a day at work, 5 days a week, most cases, right? So you're spending a third of your life in the workplace day over day. You don't think you could potentially build a bond with somebody beyond just a physical attraction where it leads to sex or whatever? People actually could potentially fall in love because you have something to talk about. Like you're talking about companionship. Some people today are only in relationships because of physical, right? And then you go to
Mhm.
work and you see that this person is an intellect, right? They're smart. You can have conversations with them, you build with them, and sometimes that happens. As soon as HR gets wind of it, as soon as the world gets wind of it, it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of even if it's two single people.
And
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, Steve. I would say my biggest thing would be whether or not like we're talking about the person being like a direct report. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that kind of stuff. You have to factor that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
in.
yeah.
If you're the person's boss or they're your boss or whatever. You
Mhm.
know, when you're talking about a work relationship, power dynamics. Like if if he's the coach and then she's like you said, and I know you're joking, or whatever, but like strength and conditioning person, and then she's trying to get a promotion to scout and she don't get it, and then she says, oh, I didn't get it because we broke up, or I didn't cook good last night or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So I get it from that aspect, right? But apparently this is a team by team thing because Dwight Howard, his baby mama was a Orlando Magic dancer. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Back in the day when he played for the Magic. Eric Spoelstra, the Heat coach, is married to a Heat dancer. I mean, well, she's not a Heat dancer anymore, but that's how they met. She was a Heat dancer, and then they started
Now she's
dating,
an
and
OnlyFans dancer.
but yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So I think it has to be more than what we are being told at this point. But
Yeah.
eventually, the shit's gonna come out, and I feel like they'd be better off just ripping the band-aid off and saying this is what happened, and then go from there.
Mhm.
But their whole thing is, I think, kind of alluding to EJ's point, even if it didn't happen last season, it almost feels like they're afraid of it being worse and them putting it out there and then them getting the backlash for why did it take this long? Why only a year? Why? So it's kind of like they're just leaking it out there in drips and drabs, and that way people just kind of get used to the information. It seems like old news, and then when you find out the big thing, it's kind of like, oh, that's last year's story.
I'm be curious to know exactly what their policy is, and I think you guys touched on it a little bit. Most places in policy have it to where as long as you're not in a direct supervisory line of someone, there's nothing they can do. There are people that are married on the job. You know what I mean? You see that often,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't report to each other. I mean, you're telling me that this guy did something so egregious that is going to cause him to be suspended for 82 games for an entire season.
Millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars. And when you're talking
When you're
about
suspended, you don't get paid.
and when you're talking about the development of your players and the relationship and everything that's going on, it's not gonna go over well in Boston. I know somebody somewhere is like, go fuck yourself. you
And
know,
he's brown.
yeah. And they were
Like,
winning, they were doing good. So I
Mhm.
mean, it doesn't look good. And what are you standing on while you're doing this? If everything is above board and no one's coming out and saying something crazy happened, what are you really standing on? What are you really standing on? What's the point? What are you trying to prove?
Right.
What are you trying to do? So I mean, for their sake, I hope they have enough to justify this shit because it doesn't look like it makes any sense right now.
yep.
Agreed.
But in the meantime, me along. If you need someone to chat with, I'm not a stepfather, but I'll be the father that steps up. If you need, if you need. Um, but
Jamal Bowman over here.
you gotta have jokes, man. You gotta make, we live such a crazy life.
I think the audacity of women folk to really question, like, I mean, seriously, man, like you gotta, like we always talk about this, me, VP, we love Halle Berry. But historically, we've known there have been instances that there's been times that people have said she's batshit crazy.
She
I
is.
mean, so it's like you could be beautiful, but if you're beautiful and you're a fucked up person, ain't nobody staying with you. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. Like Amber Heard was shitting on Johnny Depp's bed. I'm pretty sure, you know what I mean? A lot of people wanted to be with her too. But I mean, this person's shitting on your comforter, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure he didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, just because somebody's bad doesn't mean they're the ideal person to be with. For all we know, she might wake up and just be on some shit all the time.
Yeah, shit breath. She don't give it. Never mind. Maybe she's not a swallower. Like sometimes sometimes it's a difference maker in people's lives. Like, listen, you hear it. It's the age old. If you ain't gonna do it, somebody out there will. And Ime, dude's coming off a great season. Took these guys to, all it takes is one good Celtics fan to be like, listen, what was it that what was it that Mike Epps said on Friday? One of them said they gonna suck my dick from the back.
I ain't
I
never
ain't
had
never
that.
had that happen. I'm trying to see what that be like. You know what I'm saying? Like women know, man. Women are smart individuals. They know that they got power.
Yeah, this
The
dude's
one
coming into
thing,
work sexually frustrated, trying to draw up plays. It's 12 at night.
she
I
don't
mean,
even live in Boston, so he wasn't getting no Nia.
coach,
Listen,
coach,
man.
coach, you still here, coach? Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
burning the night
Yeah.
oil.
You look tense.
Oh
Shit.
shit.
The one thing that's undefeated, man, except for to the GOAT, Tom Brady.
Hmm.
Because dude chose football over Giselle.
That nigga was tired of being home too.
Right. Yeah. He spent one off season there. I was like, nah, man.
I can't do this shit. Fuck
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, sorry.
This
Get
ain't
me
it.
out of here.
Mhm.
Shit, me.
Yep.
Only motherfucker
Um,
that seemed to love his wife was Phillip Rivers.
yeah. They had 9 kids. He loved her all the time.
Counting. I think he's like a big. I think he's like super Catholic though, if I remember correctly. Phillip
Yeah,
Rivers.
he wears a
Doesn't
bolo tie.
doesn't
So
use condoms.
Yeah.
what else? So he's EJ. He's a white
Oh
EJ.
wow.
BP,
I don't have 9
any
kids, sir.
anything going on in on the political front to be aware of?
Not much happening right now, man. Everything's pretty much shutting down. Not shutting down, but like when you start getting close to the election, you don't really see much movement happening in the Congress. So campaign season is upon us. Some states have actually already started early voting. States like Virginia, Wyoming, for example. Biden was actually supposed to come here this week to Orlando, and he canceled that trip because of the coming storm. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, other than that, man, nothing much.
Somewhere, some Republican is saying, "Oh, Trump would have came down. He'd have
Right.
braved that storm."
Yeah, but yeah, proof is in the pudding. We've seen Trump not show up in the past.
Exactly.
He shows up afterwards and plays basketball with the
Toilet paper or with
yeah.
the
Paper towels.
paper towels.
Yep. What all right, so anything on the war front? Like how's that looking?
It's the Ukrainians, man, they've been taking back land, but now Putin did a mobilization where they essentially called up 300,000 troops, but these aren't like you know trained soldiers. They're basically like drafting civilians essentially. So these guys are likely going to be cannon fodder essentially. And then they also are having a sham referendum where essentially what Putin's doing in Ukraine right now is what he did with Crimea back in 2014, where they go to a region, they do some fighting, then they set up a vote, which they set up the vote like last minute. Is taking place now over the a 3-day period, and then these people are essentially voting at gunpoint whether or not a yes or no question should this area of Ukraine join Russia. The vote is going to be yes, just because the election is already fucking rigged, right? And then Putin will use that to justify the war, to say, well, we're defending Russia because these people voted to join Russia, but the big thing this week is that when he gave that speech announcing the mobilization of 300,000 new troops, he talked about potentially using nuclear weapons in Ukraine, and said that he's not joking or whatever. The Biden administration has essentially said, it's not a good idea. So, Jake Sullivan, who's Biden's national security advisor, was on Meet the Press this morning, and they asked him about this, and he said, look, I'm not gonna talk about what we're gonna do in public or whatever. He was like, but we've talked directly to the Russians, and they understand our position that if they use nuclear weapons in Ukraine, there's going to be catastrophic consequences for Russia. Damn. And then and then the reporter tried to ask him again. He was like, "That's all I'm going to say." You know what I mean?
I told you.
He was like, "We've made it clear to them."
I told you.
So I don't know, man. This
he put the Dage loaf on. Let a nigga try me.
I'm gonna kill all my fucking family.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens, man. But this shit is, it's scary, man. And meanwhile, all this shit is happening. People are talking about putting the reality show TV president back in office. So we'll see.
Hey, listen, man. If Agent Orange, aka Donnie T, comes in talking that student loan shit, I'll tell you what.
He won't.
I'll tell you
he
what.
Won't. If he was to pop up and be like, vote for me, we'll take 10,000 to 50,000. Shit.
That's it. Nah, he got to.
You won my heart over. The way to a man's heart is through his wallet. All right, man. What else? Anything else? I know, EJ, you posted there was an article of a gentleman that's been locked up since 1999 that just got let out.
Yeah,
murder.
So Adnan Saeed in Baltimore here was convicted of killing his on and off girlfriend like in the 90s, and they recently threw his case out. And it was like a crime drama podcast since 2014 was following it, putting a lot of spotlight on it, and he's been maintaining his innocence since it happened, and supposedly there could possibly be 2 other suspects. He didn't get a real fair trial back then, so Baltimore City, the DA's office, who's been under fire, Marilyn Mosby, who's been under fire since the Freddie Gray stuff and the issues with the cops and all of that kind of stuff. and recently under fire, for being accused of taking out retirement funds, legally and stuff like that to buy houses in Florida,
Hmm.
etc. Her office basically has like 30 days to figure this out if they want to just null process, not prosecute it, or if they want to take it to trial. And they're waiting on some DNA evidence. So apparently, this dude didn't get a fair shake back then. And there's been some recent drama where the girl's family was trying to say that they didn't know. Marilyn Mosby went on TMZ saying, like, look, we reached out to these people. We invited them to come and step up. But, that's basically what it is. And we can't do anything about it other than look into it. So, it's definitely a watch the space moment to kind of see what
Hmm.
happens here.
For sure.
Yeah, because and even more so because I finally got it pulled up on another site because the New York Times had the paywall for me because I'd be clicking their articles all the time and reading for free. And they were
Bastards.
they were saying that the prosecution has the option to challenge it, right?
Basically, either throw it out or take it back to trial with whatever evidence they've now obtained. So they're waiting on some DNA evidence and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's not looking good. She's had to deal with a lot of shit since being Baltimore City's prosecutor, man. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And they were saying that the DA or his lawyer at some point was disbarred and then like died in like '04. So he's not even around to say what happened. So it looks like this dude had a pretty raw and shitty deal the whole time, man. But he's like 40 something maybe now, 41 maybe. And
He
yeah, I
about to
mean,
be up. He about to be up 40 million if this shit really get stay thrown out. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And he's at home. He's on home detention right now. But I mean, that shit is crazy. And I've always said it. Shit like this scares me. That whole accusatory world that we're in. Like, we saw this with the Central Park Five. Obviously, we don't know that it's the same thing, but black men in this nation have always been targets of stuff like this. And it's like you can just be accused of anything and didn't even get a fair trial. So what if this dude really didn't do it and he served all of this time and it's just like, oh shit, man, we got it wrong. My
23
bad.
joints, yo.
My bad. We got it wrong. You know what I mean? Shit just it's crazy. We don't know. Again, right now we don't know what it is. I'm sure more will come out in the wash, but just that we see this so often. We see how a dude was on death row, DNA exonerated him. It's like, yo, I missed everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How do you fix this? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So watch the space moment. That was a
Yep.
good idea, Steve.
All right. I think that's it. We got about an hour to kick off, and I got some picks to go put in, some gambling to do, and the norm. So without further ado, I'm gonna hand it over to VP. I don't know how many more of these moments he has left because once he gets sued, they might take his words from him.
Oh, shit.
They might take his microphone, all of that. All right. That's it, man. That's it for me for today. So VP, if you will, get us up out of here, man.
Hey, everybody, we definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in live to this episode of the Castworthy Podcast. We definitely appreciate you taking that time out of your Sunday morning. As always, make that phone call, reach out to somebody, send them a text message, make a phone call, etc. Let them know you're thinking about them, check in on your people. You never know how folks are doing. I'm pretty sure they'll appreciate it and you'll do the same. For those who listen live, we definitely appreciate you guys taking that time again. For the folks who will be listening to this when it drops, we definitely appreciate your time as well. You can also follow this podcast on any of your podcasting platforms by searching Castworthy. You can also check us out on our social media by going to @Castworthy on all social media platforms. But on Instagram, it's @Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, leave us a comment, like, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend, and tell a friend. Help us grow the audience. We definitely would appreciate it. And other than that, man, be kind to each other. Congrats to my son again for making the all city team, like Steve mentioned earlier. Appreciate you doing that. And other than that, man, we out. We love you, and we will see you on the next episode of the Castworthy Podcast. Take care.